Hello my friends. Today is making our own homemade day. I have a few various things that I'm going to be making homemade. Some of this basically is just to be putting in the file per se for a just in case situation, such as making homemade butter. Right now economically it does not pay to make homemade butter. You're better off paying for a pound of butter. Basically Walmart's the cheapest I've seen is $3.98. It used to be $1 cheaper than that. However, this will be going into the files for a just in case situation where things may somewhere down the line become less available. So I will be teaching you how to make homemade butter, and it's just going to be using a simple ingredient from heavy whipping cream. But heavy whipping cream right now is like $4.98 a quart, so that is quite a bit of money. So I don't find that economically right to make butter out of it, but I will show you, like I said, just for that, just in case. The other thing that I'm working on is we are in tomato season. Now currently right now, if you were to go to Walmart, Walmart has Roma tomatoes for 98 cents a pound. I currently have 4 pounds, 69 ounces of Roma tomatoes. However, I did this so that I can show you before long all my tomatoes on my vine. Now I will say I know I don't have enough for everything that I'm wanting to do, so I am looking for the best options. I decided to go ahead and do this video with these Roma tomatoes purchased because I am running into a situation before long where my cherry tomatoes, which I showed you in my last video, they are becoming very plenty. So what I am going to do is be able to show you how to make sun-dried tomatoes and put them in olive oil. Now these, I don't know if you can hear that, these are hard, very hard. So they have been sitting in my dehydrator overnight. I currently have another batch, but in making sun-dried tomatoes in olive oil seasoned the Italian way, Roma tomatoes are your best bet. So when I found a good sale, I took advantage of it. Now I had already started this process. I do have a Excalibur dehydrator, and I know that right now the electric company is going to jack up our electric. They've already done that by nearly $100 now. So I'm just going to do what I have to do. It's not going to stop me, and I need to do this. So here are two ways of being able to do your own sun-dried tomatoes in olive oil. Now the reason I started doing this basically is because I went looking around for maybe stocking it. To me, sun-dried tomatoes are amazing if you want to make a nice olive oil pasta, or if you want to be able to dress a fish, or even in your salads. Sun-dried tomatoes are amazing. However, what I am finding is Walmart offers, now there are 3 different types. Well, basically, well no, there's 3 different types, but they're julienne cut. And if you're not familiar with julienne cut, they're strips. So for 8.5 ounces, 8.5 ounce jar, it's nearly $5 for julienne cut in olive oil. Another one, you get a 3 ounce jar for almost $3 at $2.98, but that's in a dry package. So you're really not getting a whole lot out of this. Now you can get the halves, like we're doing here, for only 8.5 ounce jar, but that's like $5.47 a jar. So I think, personally, we can do better. I think we can get more for our money, making our own. Not only that, the oil. The oil that is in these mixes are not purely authentic olive oil. They will be mixed blends. Doing your own homemade allows you to have pure ingredients. You'll know what's in it. So that's another one we're going to be doing. So we're going to start off with this first. Now I'm going to set it up so you can see what I'm doing, how I'm working this, and we're going to go from there. Okay, I am currently also at the moment taking serious advantage of this 100-degree temps that we are having the next couple days, and I am going to be making something. I'm doing it currently at the moment, which I have not done in a long time, and that's old-fashioned sun tea. So I'm looking forward to that as well. So here we have almost 5 pounds of tomatoes that are Romas. So what I am actually going to be doing is just a very simple, make sure, because I noticed these had a waxy coating, so please make sure you wash these off thoroughly, remove that coating. You do not want this in our product when we're finished. So all I'm doing is I'm taking a whole Roma and directly cutting it in half. That's all you want to do. You don't need to slice it, you just want to cut it in half. Now will this take a while? Absolutely. So what I'm going to do in my Excalibur, I'm setting my temperature at 130 or 125 degrees. So, and you can do these in the oven, but I will say they will take a long time, and they really have to be dried, y'all, like crunchy dried. So dehydrator is your best. Yeah, you don't have to have an Excalibur. Any dehydrator will do. Some take longer, but this is absolutely worth it. Now in the old times, and still in Italy, they will take a very hot sunny day and they will basically leave them outside for about a week. So I mean, that is another option if you have a air type of container or system, like a netting type of system. You could possibly do these outdoors too. So all I've done was take them in half. Now I've lined them up on my tray, and now I am going to sprinkle them with salt. The reason for sprinkling these with salt, it will help dry these out just a little bit quicker. You don't want to use a whole lot. You just want to do a nice sprinkle top on each tomato. It just helps draw that moisture out. Once I get all these completed, they go into the dehydrator and they will stay there until they are completely hard, dried, and ready. Now I'm going to get these set up, get these in my dehydrator, and I will show you the next step. Is we do have some that I prepared from the cherry tomatoes last night, and I'm going to show you how to make your own sun-dried tomatoes in seasoned olive oil. Alright, and I also needed to point out, you can use these straight on the grids like I am doing for complete airflow, or you can actually put a silicone mat or the dehydrating mats in here. The other thing is you want to make sure that these are skin side down, or skin side down. You want that flesh upward. That is one point I did not specify, and it needed to be specified. You want that meat up. And I'm getting 2 good trays out of this. So we will be right back. Okay, so the next step, after your tomatoes are completely dehydrated, just like so, nice hard tomatoes, it seems kind of silly, but now you're going to slightly rehydrate these. Now what I am using is 2 quarts of water with 1 cup of vinegar. I am actually going to put these in this boiling hot water for 2 minutes. Then I'm going to take them and put them on this paper towel. I am going to strain these off very well and get all the moisture off of it before we put them in our airtight sealed jar. So currently I am going to add these into this pot, and I'm going to set this for 2 minutes. Once my 2 minutes are up, I will pull them out of this pot, and then we will go ahead and get them ready for our olive oil mix. Okay, so 2 minutes is up. Turn off my pan, and now I am actually going to be pulling all of my sun-dried tomatoes out and layering them in a single layer onto my paper towel. Now this will soften these up. This is exactly what you want. It's not doing it completely, but just enough that we need them to absorb the oil from our olive oil. I will also give you tips and tricks about storing these as well. I'm going to make sure I get all of this little goodness out of here. And now we're going to, now this will take a couple times because I want to thoroughly make sure that all of my tomatoes are completely dried. I'm going to put a top layer on here. I'm going to sit here and absorb all of this water. Now you can let them like this on a towel if you wanted to, even for a couple hours. Make sure that they're dry. I'm going to just go ahead and use a paper towel and just keep doing this until I have hardly no moisture left. And once I get this done, I will take you to the next process. Okay, my friends, now we're going to go ahead and make up our tomatoes. By the way, this is a fresh glass of canned unsweetened cranberry juice. I will be showing you how to do that this fall when cranberries become in season, and if we can get some good prices, we are going to be canning up our own homemade unsweetened cranberry juice. This stuff is amazing. I'm definitely getting low, and that is what I want on my shelf. So good. So now you're going to need a good airtight sealed container. Now I honestly bought mine at the Dollar Tree. You can use the dollar store, anything like that. You just want a good sealing container. So this one here, that one here has the ring around it, and so this is what we're going to use. Or you can use something like this. Now when my other tomatoes, the Romas, get dried, I am probably going to do this so I can make a much larger stock. But the smaller, like these, you don't need a whole lot. So I'm actually going to go even smaller than this jar, because this little batch right here is all we have, and I really don't need a whole lot. So I'm going to get a container, and I am going to need some minced garlic, dried minced garlic, and I'm going to need some dried oregano. So let me go ahead and get my container, and we will be right back. While I'm at it, I found that I was low in actually store-bought oregano. However, I have a half gallon of dried oregano from my garden. Now I have another mass picking to do, so I'm going to use some of this. Now I'm going to show you exactly how I make my own seasonings from dried and homegrown. First, when I do this, I will take them from my garden, I will wash them, I will dry them up, I will lay them on my dehydrator, set it for herb settings, and I will dry it till it's completely dried and kind of crumbly. Now once I have my stored up version, and now I need crushed, or not ground, but just crushed up oregano. That is possible. I have a fairly inexpensive coffee grinder. That's all it is. You can get them anywhere from $19.99 to where this one I think was $29.99. This one has 3 different settings, from coarse, medium, and fine. The other ones, the simple ones, I use them as well. They're just one setting, and you just got to keep an eye on it. So all I do, this one's set for coarse only, I won't use it that long. I'm going to take my oregano that's dried and add it to my little bowl here. This is so simple, and talk about immense flavoring. Way far better flavoring than what I'm getting from the store. So, and it's even going to flavor these tomatoes a lot better than anything from the store. But you want to use dry. I'll explain all that in a minute why. Now I'm going to set my lid on top. I'm just going to show you, this will be a little loud, but I'm going to show you all I do. Now I'm going to set this for a coarse chop right quick. Just a little bit more. And that is it. I now have, no, that's hard to see in here. Let's see if we can get this in my hand for you to see. But we have chopped oregano, or actually crushed. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up this bowl. This actually comes out of here. Go ahead and finish up this bowl, and I'm actually getting, like I said, ready to do another haul of this, so I needed that room. This works out fantastic. I need to replace this. I'm not going to buy it if I'm growing my own. It makes no sense. So let me finish this up, and then we will start putting our tomatoes together. Okay, y'all, so what we're going to do is we're going to consider making a, what's called a lasagna layer. Now, the reason we are using dry ingredients, technically, we know that botulism cannot whatsoever live in oil. However, if you add seasonings, that could change everything. So if you do not want to add seasonings in it and all you want to use is just tomatoes and olive oil, you're more than welcome to do that. You can leave them on your counter up to 4 months. Now, personally, this will not last 4 months for me. I do happen to like the flavoring in mine, so I am actually going to be using seasonings. I am going to have to use dried though. If you use fresh, it is said, and I actually store that in your refrigerator, but only for up to about 4 weeks, so use it within 4 weeks. So for me to be able to keep it just slightly longer, and basically I will actually put mine in the refrigerator. I don't always leave mine out on the counter, but that's a preference. I can choose to do either or. So in a small batch like this, I'm probably going to leave it out because now doing much more Mediterranean, I'm actually going to be using this a whole lot more. At the end of this video, I'm also going to take you on the trip outdoors, and we're going to go gathering a bunch of oregano. When I show you that harvest of oregano, you will understand why I say I needed to get through that jar. That jar is almost 6 months old, and the smell when oh my gosh, it smells like I just dehydrated it and picked it from the garden yesterday. So it's amazing. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a bottom layer. Now this is a small jar, and I'm using an 8-ounce chili jar basically. And I'm just going to make a small layer of my tomatoes in here. Now this will go for any type amount of tomatoes, no matter what you use. It's the same process. So I'm gonna go ahead and add this. Now I'm going to sprinkle in some of my garlic, and I actually like the flavor of garlic. This is going to take at least a week or two for all these to develop inside of the olive oil anyways. So now I want this all to marry together. I'm going to go ahead and make up another layer, just like so. And you can use, again, any type of tomatoes. If you are fortunate to have a large space to grow plenty, I envy you for one. But, and you don't know what to do with all your tomatoes, this is another option. A lot of them is making tomato sauce, tomato salsa, tomato ketchup, tomato paste. And here we go, sounding like Bubba Gump feature with tomatoes, but this is another option right here, sun-dried. They are amazing flavors, even in fishes and sauces. I'm just going to go ahead and just keep doing this until I fill up or use every bit of my sun-dried tomatoes. I don't have a whole lot left, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish that off. Now I'm going to do my topping of this. A little bit more of my seasoning on the top, and that is all. We're going to clear this off and then do the olive oil next. So we just have a layered bunch of seasoned sun-dried tomatoes. Now I'm gonna need my debubbling tool for this, because I want to make sure that that oil gets throughout that entire layers of my tomatoes. I want them covered and I need them submerged in olive oil. And at the same time, you are flavoring this olive oil, so even when your tomatoes are done, you get a tomato herbed, sun-dried tomato olive oil base, which you can use for a salad dressing. You can use it as flavor enhancer, such as when you're going to make some potatoes or something like that, just to saute in. That would be excellent flavored oil. So I'm just going to pour this over my tomatoes, making sure that I cover them in my olive oil. I'm going to go in and debubble it, making sure that I have no air pockets in here. Mix this all together, make sure all of my tomatoes are thoroughly under my olive oil. Add just a little more now because it did go down some. And that is it. Once they are completely covered, submerged, brought through this whole thing, within a week or two, this will be completely flavored. These will absolutely be ready to cook with, and you have your own, gosh almighty, beautiful, better flavored, homegrown, clean, and no preservative sun-dried tomatoes in olive oil. I did this last year, tested it, and it was absolutely amazing. I could not wait for tomato season to do this again. So now I'm going to take advantage of it because the experiment did work. It was absolutely amazing. It did not last me all winter long, sadly, so I am now making some more. Now that is one thing that we're doing, do it yourself. The other one we're going to do right quick is making some homemade butter. Again, I'm doing that for a just a case scenario that I think everybody should be able to learn and have on hand in their files. So I'm going to clean this up and get us ready to making our own butter. Okay, so what do we need to make homemade butter? Extremely simple. You're going to need some heavy whipping cream and a food processor and salt if you want salted butter. I am choosing not to salt my butter. I'm actually going to turn this afterwards into ghee. So I'm going to leave mine unsalted. And yes, you can do that as well, as long as you get out all the liquids. Now you will have a buttermilk, however not thick, not like you buy at the grocery store. It will be a thin based buttermilk that you can use in salad dressings. You can use that in those of you who are making your biscuits, whatever. You can very much use this buttermilk just as you would the ones from the store, only it will be a thinner base. So how do we do this? You need about 10-20 minutes of your time. So you're going to take your heavy whipping cream and just pour it inside of your, now I got a 1 quart because I'm going to make quite a bit of this. I want to do the whole thing. You're just going to pour this into your food processor. Now I'm going to take you through the step process of this, of what it's going to do. Bottom line goal, you want this cream to separate from the buttermilk and you get nothing but a big clump of butter. I will show you how to do that. Right now I'm going to set this at high speed. I will not do this on there because this one is a bit louder than the grinder. So I will take you through the steps of what's going to happen with your cream. You're going to absolutely leave this running until I show you the final product of what you're looking for. So when I get to this next part, it's going to be a thick. It will look like sort of whipped cream. I will take you to that point. From there, I will take you to the point of the separation from the butter to the buttermilk. And then we're going to take you through the end until you have your own beautiful butter already done, put in the refrigerator, use immediately. So let me get this started and I will be right back. Okay, this took approximately 2 minutes to reach this point. So now my buttermilk, or my heavy whipping cream, is a nice thick base, as you see here. So this is pretty much like my whipping cream. But I'm not finished, so I want to keep going with this until I get this separated. Now it won't take long. This could take even up to 5 to 10 minutes to make. It's that simple. So I will be back once I reach that next step, which is my separation, and I will be right back. Okay, so this point here, you're going to start seeing liquid right here, like water or milk. You're going to start seeing this clump in here. That's your butter now starting to form away from the buttermilk. Keep this going until all of this forms into a ball around your buttermilk. We're still not done, but we're almost there. Be right back. Okay, so now my butter has been formed. I'm actually going to pull my blade out. I'm straining this in my strainer to separate that butter from my buttermilk. And as you can see, that big clump right here. Now this is where we're going to squeeze out more of this buttermilk. We're actually going to be rinsing this underwater as well. Right now I strain this to save the buttermilk. The rest is just going to be pretty much washed away. So I'm going to go in here, gather up all of my butter parts, and I will show you next how to start squeezing that buttermilk out. Let me get this out of the way, and that way I can work with you. Okay, so I'm going to gently take my butter, I'm going to bring it up to my hands, gather every bit of this butter together. You can see the liquid still coming out and dripping like this. So we still have a lot more to do. We're just going to gently keep pressing your butter until we release all of this buttermilk. It will start getting thicker and thicker, basically, once you start getting all this milk out of here. Just keep forming it into a ball, squeezing gently to get all of this milk out of here. I'm going to continue to keep doing so on this until I get all my milk out of it, and then at that point, which I will go ahead and tell you what I'm going to do, I'm also at that point going to take and rinse this under running cold water and make sure that it rinses away after I squeeze out as much of this buttermilk as possible. I'm then going to rinse off what any residual buttermilk left over. Your basic thing is you want clear running juice or water running from your butter where you have no buttermilk left. So I'm going to go continue to do this, get my butter rinsed under the water, and I will come back once all of this is finished. Okay, so now that I have my butter all rinsed out, I'm going to make sure that there is no liquids in mine, so I put it in a cheesecloth or tea towel, and I have it sitting with a bowl underneath it and a strainer, and I'm just going to let this sit in the refrigerator, harden up, and let it rinse out all the liquid from it. And then at this point, this is if you want to add salt, you can add salt before you put it in here to strain. What's left here, this is our buttermilk. Now it's just like the consistency of regular milk, but this is actually buttermilk. So literally buttermilk. So that's how you make homemade butter. I'm going to get this cleaned up, and I will continue on as to what more you can do with this. Alright, y'all, now I just have a lot of mess to clean up, but that's pretty much it. If I were to do this again with the butter making, what I would actually do is divide that quart in half, due to the fact is my food processor was a bit too small for an entire quart. Unfortunately, it's a cheap brand, so it is what it is. Although at the end of it, I would put both balls of butter together and that would be it. I'm hoping this helps you. Anything that I can learn to do myself, whether it's to save money, whether it's to be able to accommodate for the loss of no availability, which I seem to be running through right now. I've been doing my olive oil at least one a week, and now all of a sudden for the past 2 weeks there's no more olive oil to be bought. Interesting, but I can buy it online for a lot higher. So no, I'll wait, and what I'll end up doing is go to another county like I've been doing, and I will purchase what I need from another county instead of right here at home. So I'm hoping these help you. Sometimes I can get frustrated, and I know if I'm getting frustrated, so can you. Now when it comes to the abundance of our gardens, yes, this is something that we can do, and I absolutely love the flavor with farm fresh raised homegrown tomatoes. Making my own olive oil based sun-dried tomatoes taste amazing. So talk about gathering. Let's make the end of our trip, or the end of this video, taking a massive cutting of oregano, because that we're going to take and process next by dehydrating, storing it up, because I'll have another round after this. It will continue to keep growing through the summer. I will have well enough to last me all winter. So let's go take a gathering of our oregano. Look at this jungle of oregano, y'all. It is absolutely crazy. It has gotten so far away from me so quickly that, I mean, like long strands like this. We have got a mass amount, wow, like a serious mass amount of picking to do. I have done picked from this thing, I think, twice already. And then this just got really, really crazy from there. I want to make sure that I leave leaves behind though. So I'm trying to trail this down, and it goes all the way down there. I can actually take that big old stem. I'm just going to go through here doing a haircut. It looks like just majorly hair cutting, leaving leaves behind, you know, so I can keep this growing, but yet, wow. These are very, very hardy, and honestly, if they're not picked, they will literally reroot themselves into the ground. I'm just going to go around here and just cutting this down. I'm going to go ahead and cut this and then find out how much in the end we're going to have to gather. So we'll see what we can do. Now we gave this thing a fantastic haircut. If I still wanted to, I can pick and have some fresh, but for the most part, we took this big mass and we gave it a nice haircut. In the process of it though, I also found over here, I have some lemon basil. That is super fantastic. It's got a nice, beautiful lemony flavor or scent to it as well. So I'll have some of that to add to fish. Now, how much did I actually pick from this? That was a good question. And you see this basket here, it is completely loaded with oregano. I will have so much oregano to dehydrate, y'all. I am ecstatic and so happy. So what we use today on our tomatoes is fixing to get replaced, and probably then some more. So I'm gonna go inside and dehydrate this, get this equipment out of this hot sun or out of the hot weather, and we'll be right back. So y'all, we are definitely reaching the peak of our 100-something degree temp today. Hence the reason why I had some fresh cranberry juice to keep me hydrated while I'm working. This really makes me happy. Compared to what I would spend at the grocery store for oregano that doesn't even smell half as amazing as homegrown, and to last as long as it does. This is just amazing, and something I would continue to keep doing. Now this one that I've been picking off is actually a 2-year-old plant. Every winter I kind of cover the bed up, and because it's a perennial, it just comes back every year. But I will protect it over the winter, so I will cover it up with the plastic. And when spring starts to come around, or when our winter temps are a little bit more manageable, I'll uncover it and let Mother Nature do its course, or I'll even cover it with just nothing but leaves and let it do its thing. And then come spring, I'll pull all the leaves off the bed and I'm back to picking it like crazy like this again. When it depreciates and ends up losing any of the oregano, a seed. That's how I started this, was a simple seed, and it has grown like crazy ever since. It loves our heat, so I continue to have an abundance. I hope you enjoy this. I'm hoping this helps you in any of the things that we do. DIYs are something I really think is important for every home and every homesteader, and so everything that I can come up with, or even cut our cost, I will share with you. So until next time, I got to clean this mess up in here and get ready for supper. So much love to each and every one of you from Parton's Heritage Homestead.